Hi folks, thanks for tuning in to Reborn Gaming Network. My name is Sponce, and today we'll be taking a look at what I would refer to as a slightly overshadowed RTS of the late 2000s. This is Tom Clancy's Endwar, launched in 2009. It was kind of revolutionary for the time for incorporating a voice order system. That is to say, if you had a microphone for your computer or your Xbox 360 or your PlayStation 3, you could give orders with your voice. Um, it was really interesting for the time. Uh, in all actuality, it wasn't as amazing as it was made out to believe, but nevertheless, it was very ahead for its time. Um, I have sunk a lot of hours into this game on my old Xbox 360, so I'm kind of excited to get back into it. I have already gone through and done the Prelude to War tutorial, which is kind of long and drawn out, so I didn't want to put you guys through that. And then I went through and did the first mission, mainly because I didn't realize that it wasn't the first mission. So, um, here we are on turn 2 of World War III. But before we jump into that, let's hop on over to the game screen on Steam, and we'll talk about price, and we'll get back into it. So, let's go. And here we are at the Steam page. As you can see, we are sitting at about $10 reduce USD. Um, with recent reviews at mixed. I mean, I could probably see why they're mixed. The game is from 2009, and it was great for back then, but nowadays it doesn't quite hold up to modern RTSs, and we'll talk about that later. But I think in terms of nostalgia and stuff, it's maybe not worth $10, but maybe 3 or 4. So if you see it on sale, definitely grab it. So let's navigate back on over to the game itself, and we'll get into some gameplay. All right. So here we are back at the game. And what I'd like to jump into first is the barracks, because this game actually has a really interesting unit upgrade system. So the more you use units in the game, the more upgraded they will get. Not upgraded, the higher rank they will get. And then you'll go in and you can go into your engineers, say, and purchase them upgrades for attack, defense, mobility. They can have certain abilities, like this first one is your engineers can deploy armed robotic vehicles to guard uplinks, which is pretty darn cool. It can be really effective. Um, but certain upgrades are only available to higher tier units. So, for instance, if I was to do Defense 2, only only 2 units are qualified for that because only 2 units are regular rank, which is pretty interesting because like you'll have your showrunner, showstopper, ship of the line units that will always carry you through, but you have to keep in mind that if they go down in later battles, then oh god, suddenly you have tier 1 or tier 2 units that don't have access to those later upgrades, and you go, why aren't my upgrades working? And it's because you have your trash units out. And the downside to that is there's not really a way in this game that I know of to immediately deploy your lower tier units. So it will always choose your best units. So that's basically my spiel on that. But another fun thing is that you just go in here, and it's always nice to have some customization. You go in, and you have all these camouflages that you can do. I want to go with Kamar. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's just green. I like green. Heck, let's take a look at it. See how it looks in the tanks. Zoom into the tanks. There we go. Yeah, the tanks look pretty darn cool. Alright. So let's get on out of here and get into a battle. We already fought the United States. Let's fight the Russians. So, basic backstory for this game is the 3 major superpowers, the United States, the European Federation, which is, instead of like the European Union as we know it, it's pretty much all the member states have come together to make a massive federal state, and they just have a lot more power now and a much larger military and a much larger gross national production. Um, and then you have the Russian Federation. Well, everybody was at peace, and somebody behind the scenes did not like that, so they launched a whole bunch of attacks across the world to make it seem like each side was playing against the other, and now we have World War III. So that's something.
A sabotage raid on the army base here.
Sabotage
Colonel,
raid.
it is imperative that Europa seize the uplinks in this sector and deny the enemy access to the same. The Russians consider this home ground, so expect a bellicose defense. Once again, your adversary is Colonel Alexander Korochnik of the 56th Airborne. This man cost you dear the last time you met in battle. It is time you put pay to his account. There are many battles ahead of us. Victory will belong to the most persevering. Go forth, Colonel. Endure and conquer.
Endure and conquer. It's pretty cool. So I think it's important to note that you are fighting Spetsnaz. That's, for some reason, they decided to make everybody Spetsnaz. So, whatever. Apparently they're no longer just a special units forces, but whatever. But the Europeans, they call themselves the Enforcer Corps, which I think is one of the coolest names I've ever heard for an armed body. As you can tell, the voice acting is pretty decent. Ooh, and if you watched my Star Wars Empire of War video, we're not playing as the Americans, but the guy who plays the American general is the same guy that does the majority of the voice acting in Star Wars Empire of War, and is also the voice of Zeb Aurelios in Star Wars Rebels, if you've seen that. So, I don't know, it just seems like I'm constantly playing games with that guy doing voice acting. Can't escape him. Alright, let's get into this game. Alright, so here we can choose who to take out. We're going to grab transport and some engineers, because that's what I jive with the most.
Operation Pompey is go. Repeat.
Let's
Operation
get our
Pompey
guys
is go.
embarked.
Units entering the battle space.
I'm calling some artillery because I like artillery.
Units entering the battle space.
This map looks familiar. Oh, it's because it's the exact same map that I was on last time. Like literally the very first map you play on in the tutorial is this map. And the map that I was just on was this map. Like right before filming, the map I was just on was this map. That's kind of sad, actually. Like, why would you have to reuse resources like that? Especially for, like, Tom Clancy games back in the day were kind of, like, big-name AAA games. Like, this was an Ubisoft game. Well, is an Ubisoft game. Man, that's really kind of sad. And the gameplay's okay, you know.
Check center quadrant. Eyes on Russian army troops.
Eyes on Russian army troops. What's that joke in one of the Austin Powers movies? They're driving around in their car and he says, "It's amazing how much England doesn't look like Southern California," because that's where they were filming. And I was just reminded, it's amazing how much Russia doesn't look like Western Spain.
Fueled and ready to deploy.
Oh my gosh. That's just, it's really kind of disappointing, honestly.
Units inbound on DZ. Check Alpha. Uplink is secure.
Let's upgrade for some air support.
Are available.
Get
Units
some more
inbound
engineers.
on DZ.
Engineers. Get our artillery firing. Let's zoom in on them because I like the way they look when they deploy. It's good stuff. That's some good stuff.
This is Fermi. Roger. This is Air Command Europa. Signal is authentic and secure.
Air Command Europa.
All squads at the ready.
Alright, so what we did is we just upgraded our uplink so that we could have air support, which can really come in handy in this game. And we're gonna give our frontline troops some assistance.
Mainframe here. We're in the Badgers.
We're in the Badgers.
Confirm. On the move.
Okay, now we go to Bravo over here.
On the move.
Longbow here.
So it's interesting to note that this game,
Reinforcements
instead
are
of just
available.
like reusing more textures, um, instead of
Units entering the
like
battle space.
you'll have your units increase in rank, instead of just giving you a random unit every single time that just happens to have a higher rank, um, it will it'll be the same unit that you've had like the entire game, same voice actor, same call sign, everything. Um, but I think that's pretty interesting. Like, it's nice to see that level of continuity observed. These guys are just getting demolished.
Check Delta. Hostiles have secured it.
Oh, let's see if we can get the deploy. Ah, we just missed it.
Securing the uplink central.
Dang it.
This is Einstein. Panzer tanks deployed.
Going to move Heckler
Waiting for orders.
over here.
Targo's here.
Alright, so
This is
going
Vistula.
to
All
deploy.
machines ready.
I love that disembark and embark like animation. It looks so darn good.
Longbow here.
Artillery.
Engaging the
Fire.
enemy.
Oh, well, they're done. Artillery, fire!
This is Watchmaker. Making a go for the uplink.
But like, for instance, mainframe, if they
Check in.
stay alive throughout this
We have
entire
deployed it.
playthrough,
Reinforcements ready to deploy.
they
We have
will
multiple units ready
will
to deploy.
be, it'll be mainframe the entire time, that's what I'm trying to say.
Getting the badgers.
Alright, let's get, honestly, let's get some
Units
riflemen.
entering the battle space. Battle space deployment is at maximum.
Battle space, ha! Battle space deployment is at maximum. This is, like, going really smoothly right now, and that's
Mainframe here.
kind of disconcerting.
Check Bravo. It is secured.
Alright,
Watchmaker here. All squads upright.
we're going to deploy, we're going to fortify our, oh, maybe not.
Understood.
Fortifying our uplink, which means they're supposed to deploy some stuff.
This is where you make me proud.
I'm not seeing them doing that
You earned it.
for whatever reason.
This is Targus. All machines are good.
Heckler here. Waiting for orders.
Check North Quadrant. Eyes on Spetsnaz Wolves.
Spetsnaz wolves.
This is Longbow. We are opening fire at hostiles. Check Bravo. Archers defending position. This is Targus.
Oh, I see. There's the drones.
Sparta here. We're at full strength.
Eyes on Spetsnaz combat engineers.
On the move, Central.
Watchmaker here. We reached Badgers and embarked.
This is Heckler. Confirm. On the move.
Alright, we're gonna go
Our pleasure, Central.
displace them. Actually, no, we're going to go take that building. Oof, we gotta move because those engineers that are in place, they will absolutely decimate my tanks. So you'll notice there's this bar surrounding the bar. There's shields. I don't
Check Lima.
really know
Uplink is secured.
where they got shields. Like, why canonically they have shields, but I guess they have shields. There's that.
Getting the badgers. Confirmed.
The enemy doesn't stand a cat's chance today.
This is Sparta. We're at full strength. This is Vistula. All machines ready. This is Heckler.
Stula,
In position.
Heckler.
Center quadrant. Hostile neutralized. This is mainframe. We're in the badgers.
So we've got riflemen and engineers. Both of which are getting just absolutely
Heckler here.
rained
Opening
on.
fire. Scoring hits, Central.
Alright, now we're going to move on over this way. Cut them off from the rear.
Eyes
Maybe.
on Russian army troops.
Oh yeah, these are just like, these aren't like
Center quadrant.
commandable vehicles.
Hostile
These
destroyed.
are just like AI vehicles. And we should make short work of them with our upgraded vehicles.
Secure that uplink. CC.
Deploy, deploy, deploy.
Heckler here.
This is Targus. Ready for our order.
This is Sparta. This position is
Unit 2. They're in trouble. Hostile eliminated. This is mainframe.
Okay, they are at Zulu.
Confirmed. Grab the uplink.
This is
Stay
Sparta.
focused.
This is
Now it
mainframe.
really counts.
We are capturing uplink. This is mainframe.
Yeah, like even I really don't understand the shields. Like, where did the shields come from? Why are there just shields all of a sudden?
Securing the uplink central.
Now we're gonna call in airstrike. Should be able to see them come in. Zoom. Blow.
Use commandos or artillery to attack hostile infantry and buildings.
This is Sparta. This position is highly exposed. Sparta here.
Here they go, going into the building. Fun little animation for that too, even.
Building is out.
Now they're shooting at them.
Hostile neutralized.
Now they're down.
This is Hikla. All machines still in the game.
Check Zulu. Uplink is secure.
Confirm. On the move.
This is Tagus. We've taken hits, but no machines are knocked out.
Alright, so they just got DEFCON, which means I've taken the majority of positions.
Check Delta. Uplink is secure.
We're gonna upgrade this too, just because.
Hikla here. Waiting for orders.
Just whenever DEFCON is triggered, then the other side, the side that's losing,
This is Hikla.
gets access to weapons of mass destruction,
This is Tagus.
and
Orders.
Vistula here.
they get access to the ability to just completely crash uplinks willy-nilly.
This is Vistula. All machines
So
ready.
I'm really confused as to why we're not seeing that happen.
This is Air Command.
Up,
Precision strike
there it
also
is.
ready.
Something's getting
Check
crashed.
Alpha. Spike has crashed uplink.
Alpha was
Air
crashed,
command signal confidence downgraded.
which is fine because I'm afraid that if
Confirm. On the move.
we're just gonna leave our vehicles here because I feel like if I let them get too close together, they'll use weapons of mass destruction on those units and they'll just wipe them off. So keeping everything spread out pretty well to not give too many a juicy target. I'm really not seeing anything moving, which is weird. I couldn't have like completely wiped them out this quickly.
This is Sparta. We're at full strength.
I'm gonna let
Mainframe here.
these guys go
Understood and confirmed.
get into some cover.
Northeast quadrant.
Up, up. There they
Eyes on
are.
Spetsnaz combat engineers.
Engineers.
This is Vistula. In position.
This is Tagus. We've taken hits, but no machines are knocked out. This is mainframe.
I think we're doing pretty decently, honestly.
Watchmaker here. All squads upright.
Oh, they're coming this way.
Tell me what the point is shoot off.
But as soon as they use a WMD, I get access to a WMD.
We're in the building.
And I don't think they want that. I'm just really confused.
Look lively. Keep working.
Tagus here. Holding at a position.
Hikla here. All machines still in the game.
Oop, 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 oop. We're gonna pull those,
Jawohl.
those,
Infantry is
helos.
most effective in hard cover. Watchmaker here. We are
Those
in cover.
helos are very effective against tanks.
This is Vistula.
So this game you have kind of like a rock paper scissors sort of system. So infantry fighting vehicles, these light armor guys, they are good against helicopters. Helicopters are good against tanks, and tanks are good against IFVs. And then infantry has its own interplay system. But yeah, no, this is. I did not expect them to field gunships. This is a mechanized battalion, so normally they field. Wait, no, this is an airborne battalion. There's a big old helo.
Check East quadrant. Hostile destroyed.
You know what?
Check
We're
Northeast
gonna go
quadrant.
get them.
Hostiles deploying. Eyes on MI-80 Tarantula.
I know I wanted you to get in there. Why aren't you?
This is Watchmaker. Securing the optic sensor.
Now, if I wanted to, upon like initially knocking these units out, I could continue to shoot at them and deny them the upgrades later. It feels a little awful because it's just like, kick a man while he's down and kill him. But
Unit 4. They're in trouble.
oh yeah, we're in trouble. Back off. They're in cover. Also, more units. Oh lord. Electronic countermeasures worked.
Uplink is secure.
Jawohl. Lofi. Jawohl. Understood.
Transports incoming.
Engage hostiles. Oui. Capture the optic. Confirmed. A victory,
Alright, we
Colonel.
just won.
The battle space
Didn't even
is
lose a
ours.
unit.
Big thanks.
That's
Can't
wild.
win every time. After action report for your review.
Alright. Now they're gonna talk at us for a second, I think. 2 units survive, 5 units promoted. Always have your little spiel up here. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Niccolo Machiavelli. He was
The
a schmuck.
strategic display is updating now. Here are the results of the past week's operations. We took significant losses in America.
That sounds about right. Now the Russians are gaining ground in America. For some reason, they don't have the entire continental United States. I don't know why.
We fought well in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, we did. Beat them back. Bam, bam. Oh, we actually pushed into Hungary, it looks like.
With production targets in all sectors being exceeded, Defense Minister Francois Poulet today praised the efforts of Europe's arms manufacturers.
Yeah, I imagine. So, like, there's always that little blurb that you hear with the background stories and everything. It's pretty interesting, but sometimes if you're trying to give commentary on something, you don't want something just screaming in your ears, so that's kind of annoying. Other than that, it's fun. It's world building. So that's Tom Clancy's Endwar in a nutshell. Obviously, there's the majority of the points we've talked about. There's not really much else to say other than it's a Tom Clancy title that I don't know if it didn't get the attention it deserved or if it didn't really deserve much attention to begin with. Back in the day, they were kind of just being released like hotcakes. If there was money to be had, a Tom Clancy game was going to have it. Think of it as, for the time period, think of it as the Fast and Furious movie, or the Marvel movie, or the Marvel TV show. It was kind of obviously a money grab, but like there was still some quality to it, and there's some diamonds in the rough. I think this is a pretty darn good game for what it is, for when it came out. It just needed a lot more polishing and not to be watered down as much as it is, because, like, look, you barely have any of Russia in this. I mean, granted, the most populous centers are in Western Russia, but, like, you hardly have any of Russia covered, and you hardly have any of the United States covered.
No major
Like,
operations are
for some
planned for the
reason,
week.
the Russians are coming all the way across, like Norway, Finland, Greenland, Canada, all the way
No
into,
major deployments are planned.
what,
The
Minnesota?
fighting will be elsewhere.
Michigan? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And, like, you have the entire western United States just completely discounted. Also, again, you're going from, where is this? Carpathia. Which, that's not Carpathia. But whatever. But they're going from all the way over there, all the way around the globe to
No major deployments are planned.
Pascagoula,
The fighting
Louisiana.
will be elsewhere.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess it is what it is. It's a good, fun game. The combat's kind of intuitive and kind of fun. It's definitely like a play each campaign once and then be done with it. That being said, I do like the upgrade screen. I think that's a lot of fun, and with certain upgrades, they do actually change what the unit looks like. So I think that's a lot of fun. But one aspect does not make a fun game. But it was fun enough, you know. I do highly recommend if you
With
can find it
production
for a
targets
couple
in
of
all
bucks,
sectors
pick
being
it up.
exceeded, Defense Minister
Um,
Francois Poulet
but
today
yeah,
praised the efforts
that's
of Europe's arms manufacturers.
that's Tom Clancy's Endwar in a nutshell, friends. If you like this video, please leave a like, share it with your friends, subscribe if you'd like. That would be really excellent. If you would like to see any other content covered, if you'd like to see a full campaign of this game, like a multi-episode series, just let me know down in the comments below. If I have the time and the gumption and the means to get to it, then I will probably get to it. Like if you ask for it, I'll do my darndest to get to it. But yeah, so if you think of anything, just let me know. My name is Sponce. I'm with Reborn Gaming Network. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.